My apartment literally had no television, had no plants. I just sat there on a laptop on this white plastic table, and I'd just sit there for 12 hours a day doing outreach and taking calls. And there was a whiteboard next to me, and it just had like £30,000 top, and I'd just stare at it and be like, oh, I've got to get there, I've got to get there. The minute I wiped that off the whiteboard and like detached my self-worth to that 30k, money started flowing so much better. Loads of people at the time in my life were like, oh, I told you that was a bad thing to do. I told you that you shouldn't have, just locked yourself in your apartment. But to start, I think it was very important. And the thing is there's like results lag. You won't see the results from the work that you put in today until tomorrow or next week or even next year. One big reason why people fail in business is because they look so far ahead of like, oh, I need to have this in place so that when I get to that point, nothing breaks, like my delivery systems or, my fucking email list. You've been really good at just going one foot in front of the other. What's next? And I'm just going to ruthlessly take action on that.
Welcome to the Willionaire Podcast. I'm Will, founder of Willionaire. If you're running a 6 or 7 figure business, looking to grow faster, connect deeper, and live bigger, then you're in the right place. Inside the Willionaire community, we host sick trips, powerful masterminds, and have real conversations that all move the needle forward. And this podcast, it's simply just a reflection of that energy. In this podcast, you're going to hear from Willionaire members and other top business minds from around the globe. These people have built amazing companies, but even better lives. We're here to show you what's working, challenge the norm, and see everyone rise. So whether you're tuning in from a beach, a boardroom, or you're on a flight to your next mastermind, get ready. This is the Willionaire Podcast.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Thomas.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing grand. How about yourself?
Doing beautiful.
Good.
Doing beautiful.
We should probably start this off with a little intro each. So do you want to tell everyone like who you are and what you're doing?
Yeah. So basically, my name's Tom Hutchison. I work with coaches, helping them transition. Why are you laughing?
I don't know.
Why is that funny? Yeah, I work with coaches, helping them scale online. Obviously, you know that.
Yep.
What about you? Who the hell are you?
22, founder of Willionaire, global private network of entrepreneurs making over 10k per month.
Beautiful.
And yeah, we're currently here in Bangkok. Last time I was here, I was with you. That was the last time I seen you, wasn't it?
That was the last time.
Last June, 2024.
No, I saw you in Bali.
Oh yeah, that was
after, yeah.
That was 2 months after, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
That was sick. Your first opinion on Bali wasn't great, was
Not
it?
great, because you made us stay in the fucking ass end of nowhere, basically.
I've got a really good habit of booking really shit places.
Yeah.
Like even now in Bangkok, I always knew I was going to stay in Phnom Penh.
Yeah, so why are you staying in Ramanine?
Because
you're like 20 minutes away.
Because like I clicked on the search, this was one of them. So I scrolled down, looked the best.
Yeah.
2k pounds like sound. Looked way better than all the ones in Phnom Penh. Booked it. And then it was only until I got to the airport and I needed a taxi. I was like, oh, it's here. It's in Phnom Penh. He's like,
this far.
He's like, this is not in Phnom Penh. I was like, no, trust us, it is.
Yeah.
He's like, Ramanine, not in Phnom Penh.
On the map, like in distance, it is actually close.
As the crow flies.
What does that mean?
But like, straight line.
It looks really close, but it's because of the traffic. It's because it takes about an hour to get a couple of kilometers through traffic.
You've got to go along the main road as well.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
That skitters me out every single time on the back of a grab bike.
On the back of the bike.
Especially when the grab drivers smell of that Tong Hong whiskey.
Oh, mate. Yeah, they're all on it. They're all on it.
That's the fright of my life. And it was.
But yeah, you booked that place in Bali, so I stayed near you. And then every single day we had to drive an hour to get to like Canggu or to get to Uluwatu. And it was just a long way.
No, it was an hour one way.
It was an hour one way. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The second 2 months I was in Bali, we actually stayed in banging locations.
Yeah. Like, was that decent though?
Yeah, it was barefoot walking distance away from Nirvana.
Wow. Yeah. Decent, bro.
It was hard to walk in bare feet.
Okay, so how does Bangkok compare to Bali?
It's interesting. Obviously, there's a lot of entrepreneurs here.
Yeah.
We've got like 15 guys in Willionaire in Bangkok at the minute. Bali, obviously, it's just different vibes, isn't it? We've got a city vibe and we've got like a island life.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm definitely more so leaning towards the island lifestyle. But I do like the fast-paced environment of being in Bangkok.
Yeah.
So it's completely two ends of the stick.
Of course.
They're both in Asia.
Yeah.
I like them both. What's your thoughts?
I'm a big city guy.
Yeah.
I love cities. I think after Bangkok, I'll move to London and then look at maybe like Miami or even Dubai. Dubai doesn't appeal to me so much. I know that you've been, but I love Bangkok at the moment. Just the convenience. For me, it's better than island life. I don't know what it is. Everything on an island just feels like inconvenient, if that makes sense. It just feels like it takes forever to get to the gym. You have to get on your bike. Whereas here, I literally go up the elevator. I'm in the gym. I go downstairs. I collect my food.
But do you not think that's because like when you first broke into like your first sort of chapter of success,
yeah,
you were locked in an apartment in Manchester.
Yeah.
Whereas when I first broke through my first chapter of success,
Yeah.
I was in my boxers all day in Koh Samui.
You
know?
just sat in your room naked, tapping away on your laptop. Yeah. Maybe actually. Maybe.
So we might have different connotations of what we think is the good lifestyle design for us.
Potentially. Yeah, potentially. But I do think that city life, I don't know. I just love it. I just love being around so many different people. I love being in a big city. Like in Phrom Phong in Bangkok, I love living in the center of everything. It just feels good for me.
There is so much going on in Phrom Phong.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, this is technically Phrom Phong. It was close.
Is it?
Well, it's actually Tonglo, but it's close to Phrom Phong. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah,
good.
bro.
What's been happening since you came to Bali? Like how's everything been growing?
We've like 3x the business since that time. Like around that time was when I kind of hit like a new level of fuck this. You get like fuck this moments, right? Where you're like, okay, I need to lock in on the business more. And when I came back from Bali, I was like sleep deprived for like a week straight. I just sat there and was like, I need to get to the next level. I'm ready now. So that's pretty much what I did. Just started running ads, started like locking in more on content. Don't know, it just worked.
I think since Bali, we've literally 10x'd.
Yeah. You've 10x.
Yeah, literally 10x'd.
Yeah.
Maybe, actually, I think the month prior when I was in Da Nang, I hit 7K. But the month before that was 5K.
Yeah.
But I think we went back down to 5K the first month in Bali.
Yeah.
We probably have 10x'd.
Yeah, you have fluctuations.
Yeah.
But like, it's fine because you kind of got to look at it, if you're like in entrepreneurship, you kind of got to look at it over the course of a year instead of like month by month, because that can build up like a real shit level of anxiety when you're like grinding every time to like try and beat the month after. And sometimes it's just counterproductive. I think that it's better to look at it in a long period rather than like look at it month by month, if that makes sense.
Yeah, a bit like regression to the mean.
Yeah.
The way I was looking at it this year, because like I broke through the 20K a month in January, and I thought, all right, cool, let's just keep this consistent, and I'll hit $250,000.
Yeah.
And then I didn't improve too much in February. Like it was a lot higher, but it wasn't like a massive difference.
Yeah.
Then midway through March, like we just broke an all-time high already.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, fuck this. $250,000 is far too low.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to be making like $1 million.
Of course, bro. Why not?
I told you this before. I was on the phone with Amex.
Yeah.
So I've never used any credit cards before. But my plan is I want to fly business home. Never flew business before.
Oh, bro, you're going to love it.
Yeah. So I thought, all right, I'll just spend as much money as I can on my Amex card.
For sure.
Get loads of points. And then my flight home, it can be business class.
For sure. Yeah.
And
I mean, you can do that, and like you should do that anyway. Amex or no Amex, you should just.
I probably should, yes.
Yeah,
but I just, regardless of business or no business, I wanted to get some points to pay for my flight.
Of course, yeah.
Because it's just leaving money on the table if not.
Yeah.
So I called them up. I checked my app. I only had £3,600 of credit. I was like, that's not much.
That's shit.
Like I couldn't even buy the villa for the mastermind, which cost like 11K. So I was like, all right, that sucks. So I called up. I was like, can I increase it?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I can put in an application for you right now.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, sure. She's like, how much do you make a year? She said that and I just smiled. I was like, $500,000?
I love how you just manifested through the fucking Amex rep.
It's nuts.
Yeah, that's sick though.
My bank got shut down. Wise got shut down.
Oh yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wise.
So I
is
set
shit.
that up in like February last year.
Yeah.
I said, how much do you make a year? And I put like 10 to 12K.
Yeah.
And like people have been sending us that per day.
Yeah.
And then they just completely flagged it and closed the bank down.
Yep. We've been shut down a few times on Wise, but like Revolut to go to, especially for like international shit.
Wise sucks.
Yeah, Wise isn't great.
It's happened so many times.
Yeah. But yeah, bro, no, since Bali, it's just been fucking grind. Went home for Christmas, and then obviously, oh my God.
Yeah.
I got stranded in airports and then sent back to the UK. So basically what happened was we went home for a week at Christmas, quick in and out, see the family, see the friends, and bounce back to Thailand. I had my whole night planned. Like I was on the plane back, flying business back to Thailand, thought I was a fucking big G. And I got back to Thailand and I had my whole night planned. I was going to go and get a massage. I was going to go and buy some fucking fruit. It was going to be, I don't know, just like random shit like that. It was going to be amazing. And then got to immigration. And I think for anybody listening who's like going to Thailand, just be aware of this. If you're in and out the country loads, just understand that like you need to stop fucking about with the visa shit and like actually respect their rules, because I definitely haven't done that enough. And basically what happened was I got to immigration and I got sent back home. So they didn't let me in the country. I thought that, okay, maybe they could fly me to Vietnam or a neighboring country or even back to Abu Dhabi where my connecting flight was. But no, they had to send me all the way back to England. Now, it wasn't because of the visa. It was actually because I didn't have 10,000 baht in cash on me.
Could you not just withdraw it?
Well, that's what I said. I said, can I not just go and take it out or show you my bank account? And they said, well, you could have done that, but it's already done now. They wanted to send me home, bro. They like, even the guy said, he was like taking the piss out of me. He's like, you come in, you fly business, you think you big boy. That's what he said. He goes, you think you big boy. So like, they wanted to send me home. They were taking the piss.
Did you not resort to one-to-one combat?
I don't think you want to do that in the Thai in Bangkok airport.
That would make me so frustrated.
I just sat there and was like,
okay.
I was like, well. But in the end, he was like, bro, I said to him, I was like, look, it's genuinely not like that. I was like, I'll pay anything to get back into the country. Just don't. Because he was saying, he's like, oh, we're sending you back to England. And he was like teasing me over it. I was like, he's joking. Because I was with my brother as well. And Joe was like, do you think they will? I was like, there's no way, mate. There's no way. And then they sent us down to this basement and we had to wait there for like 3 hours, basically. There was a girl from the Netherlands with us who was sat with us as well. And they turned around and these two girls came out and they were like, you know you're flying home, right? We were like,
no, we're not.
I just said to her, I was like, we're not. And at first I was like, no, we're not. She was like, no, you are. So that was that, bro. We got sent back.
Were those Dutch girls cute?
Nah, unfortunately not. Can't say they.
There's something about girls in airports.
Yeah, you do get airport crushes, 100%.
Oh, bro, I've pulled big time in airports.
Really?
Yeah. The German porn star in Bali.
Nice.
Met her in the airport.
Yeah.
The little worldie from Newcastle. Met her in Dubai airport.
Yeah.
That's as far as my resume goes, but...
Yeah, well, airports, I just get a bit antisocial and just don't want to talk to... Even if I'm with people, I just don't want to talk to them.
It's because I know I'm going to get a fine.
Because you know you're going to get a fine? For what?
Something.
Oh, you just know you're going to get in trouble at some point?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Every single time I've been to an airport, 90% of the time, I either get done for overweight baggage, not checking in 24 hours before.
Yeah.
Something.
Fucking hell. I was late for a flight once in Chiang Mai. I was like really, really fucking late. And I was on a call with a client and like I didn't realize that they changed the gate. Like they'd announced it and everything and they were calling my phone. I had like 11 missed calls. And on the 12th call, I managed to pick up and I was like, who the fuck's this? They're like, oh, it's fucking Thai Airways or whatever. We've changed the gate that your flight's at. Are you coming? And I was like, yeah, okay. I was like, where is it?
Sure.
I was like, can you hold the flight? That's a good thing about Thailand as well. I literally said to them, I was like, is there any way you can wait like 5 minutes while I finish this call and like then get on the flight? And they were like, yeah, sure, no problem.
Really?
Yeah, they were like, you've got 5 minutes. And whether they held the flight up for 5 minutes or they just had 5 minutes, I don't know. But the woman on the phone made me feel like she'd held the whole flight up. And then as I was walking on, everybody's there like giving me evils.
As a wink.
Yeah, exactly.
Smile and wave, boys.
Yeah. And then the funniest part was I had a whole aisle to myself. Just put my feet up, kick back, fucking manifested a good journey, bro.
Lay down.
Yeah.
Sat next to the fire exits.
Exactly, bro.
I was on the way, I think it was the flight from Marbella to Milan in January or February. I was in the middle, and I was like, fuck this, I'm not sitting in the middle. So I just asked the wifey next to us, I was like, excuse me, love, can we swap seats?
She said, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't ask, don't get.
Exactly, shy Ben's getting out. That's what we say in Newcastle.
What's that?
Shy Ben's getting
Shy
out.
Burns.
Ben's as kids.
Shy Bens.
Yeah.
Ben's. Fucking, I was like Thai.
Yeah. Shy Ben's getting out.
Shy Ben's getting out. It's true though. And fortune favours the bold.
It does.
You've got to have balls. Like you literally have to just take big swings.
You do. A man who does not take risks will achieve nothing in life.
It's true.
Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
He said it himself.
Wow. Yeah, I couldn't imagine not taking risks. Like when I'm in a spot where I'm not taking risks, I feel really, really uncomfortable now. And I think that's just like conditioning after years and years of just being like, okay, fuck it, we'll drop 5K on that course. Okay, fuck it, we'll put 2K into ads. Okay, fuck it, we'll pay this guy fucking a couple K to do some videos or some shit. And I've just done that over and over and over and over. Let's fly my brother out to Thailand. Like everything's just a risk, really.
See, putting the logs on the fire, one, keeps you warm, but it also gets hot.
Yeah.
And if the fire's under your arse, it makes you do shit.
Yeah, of course.
You know?
Of course. Yeah.
I love taking risks.
What do you think the biggest risk is that you've took in your like entrepreneurship journey so far?
Well, for the first like 10 months, everything I did was a risk because there was just so much uncertainty. So I didn't really have a clue what I was doing to start.
Right.
And then there's a lot of like financial uncertainty. I was spending a lot of money.
By my advice.
By your advice. So I'll give a backstory about that.
It's funny.
So I first met you in probably, was it like April last year?
April, bro, yeah.
It was April.
Yeah. Like this time last year.
And how much were we doing? Like 15, 20K months?
Yeah, I was doing alright.
And I was doing like three 3K.
Yeah, you were at the beginning, bro. You
Yeah.
were like first few months of your business.
So I was just all ears to you. I was like, all right, whatever,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
this guy says, I'm just gonna listen and just do what he says.
Yeah.
And then you were like, oh, you just need to start like spending loads of money. I was like, right. I was like, what do you mean? I was like challenging you. And you're like, oh, well, money flows. The more you spend, the more it comes. Trust us. That's what happened to me.
Yeah.
All right, sound.
Yeah,
So I did that. And then things got like really good.
Yeah, they did.
But then like the income sort of hovered around the 10K mark.
Yeah.
And then when
Did you stop spending money?
No, because I went to Dubai and spent everything. And then I went back to the UK almost empty-handed. I mean, and like I didn't want to go back empty-handed because everyone would have thought like, what the fuck you been doing?
Yeah, that's a big like ego hit, 100%.
Yeah.
That's not nice.
And then the fact I went back to the UK and then the circumstances it was, like I had a full week not working because of my granddad.
Yeah.
And then it was Christmas.
Yeah.
And the Snowdonia event. But then I think that those two things was a catalyst which just made everything just take clean off in January.
Yeah. Exactly.
Was that the rest of the story? Is that the point I was trying to get across there? Oh no, you asked me what the biggest risk I took, and I just went off on a couple.
Yeah,
side tangent.
yeah.
I think moving to Thailand was one with like no plan, no skills.
When you came to Thailand though, like, did you come with like a fund? Like, did you have money in your bank? Because I think like when I was thinking about moving out to Thailand, and I've thought about it like multiple times in my life, not ended up doing it, and then obviously ended up doing it in the end. And like every single time, one question that's been in my head has been like, okay, how much money should I have as a buffer? Like, how much money do I need in my bank account to be like, okay, let's go? What's like a comfortable amount?
Well, I had about £8,000 or £9,000 cash in my bank.
Yeah.
And I went out, and I've spoke about this before. I bought like a course for 6K, so that left us with like 2 or 3K.
Jesus.
Bear in mind, I hadn't booked accommodation.
What was the course?
It was another community, and the terms was if I joined this community for 6K, be surrounded by entrepreneurs doing well, and I'd get a job, appointment setting for him, for his community. And I didn't make any commission from that. But
so you did get the job, but you didn't make commission.
yeah,
Fair play.
but that just, one, gives an insight on how to network. That's how I started networking with loads of people.
Yeah, bro, that course has returned you so much money. Yeah.
Bro, it's like, there's like a domino effect. It's like, even if one thing seems to be not very good, what about the domino the domino it hits over next?
Yeah, 100%.
Like it all feeds in. Like that's why I don't regret anything, even the bad decisions in my life.
Yeah.
Like I don't regret doing it, because if that didn't happen, then it's like the trajectory of a plane, isn't it? Like if you alter the trajectory, you're going to end up in a different place. And I don't think there's much I'd give to not be in this position right now.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's the biggest risk. That is quite fucking ballsy, actually.
Yeah.
Spending 6K on a course with like, that's like half of your fucking war. That's most of your war chest gone.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it was that, but it was also the fact that I didn't know if it was going to work. I just knew that I would work. Whatever I do, I'd make it work.
Yeah,
but I didn't know if this was the vehicle that was going to like help us stay in Thailand. But I mean, like this event that I'm running now was lost like $30K.
Yeah.
So I just spunked loads of money on that. But that doesn't feel like a risk, really.
Because you're flowing now, like you've got cash flow. And that's the thing. And I think that's why like I was giving you that advice so much last year, because I just started hitting my stride of like £1,000 days, just like one after the other. Just weeks where we'd make like 10 grand in a week. And I was like, wow. And that was like the first time that I'd really started doing that, to that extent at least. And just letting money flow for me at that time was just, I think, was the move.
Detachment plays a massive role in that.
It's huge, bro. It's huge. Yeah. Because I think when I lived in Manchester, so like when you spoke about before, when I was living in Manchester and I was starting to see a bit of success, I hit my first 10K month, started to, take on clients, started this business that I have now. I think that I was so attached to like, okay, I've got to make, like, I was like, I've got to make 30K per month by the time I'm 24. And that was like the be all and end all. It was like, if I don't do that, I suck. There's nothing after that if I don't achieve that. And I got so attached to it to the point where it just fell. It just like, I didn't get there.
Crumbled,
completely crumbled. Yeah. And I think it's just because I attached myself so much to that. And then I took a little bit of a step back. After that happened, I was like, okay, I'm going to just chill the fuck out. Stop being so weird. Start seeing my mates again. Start seeing my girlfriend at the time again. Spend a bit more time. Maybe have a drink here and there. Actually enjoy life and just not be a freak in my fucking apartment. Like my apartment literally had no television, had no plants. Like look at all these like nice plants and shit like this in this room. Just imagine if it was just bare. That was my apartment, just white walls. I didn't have, do you know how we've got like little laptop stands that we take into cafes and like a little mouse? I just sat there on a laptop with the fucking trackpad and the actual keyboard. I didn't have like a a setup or anything like that.
Just
Didn't have
the
a mic.
laptop.
I just had the laptop on this fucking white plastic table, and I'd just sit there for 12 hours a day doing outreach and taking calls.
Just working.
Yeah, and there was a whiteboard next to me, and it just had like £30,000 written on the whiteboard.
That was it.
And it was just me, the laptop, and I just stare at it and be like, oh, I've got to get there, I've got to get there. But that wasn't helpful, bro. That was really bad, because the minute I wiped that off the whiteboard and like just dropped, like I detached my self-worth to that 30k, money started flowing so much better.
Do you think you currently tie your self-worth to anything?
Probably.
Like what?
I don't know, maybe like looks, maybe the way I communicate.
Yeah.
How effective I am with my clients. I wouldn't say it's tied to money anymore. It's definitely, it probably is actually to some extent. Like if I made less money than what I've made this month, next month, I'd probably feel worse about myself. Probably.
There was an interesting paradigm. It's like you are a reflection of your business.
Yeah, like your business is a reflection of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, whatever.
Yeah.
And that kind of pissed me off a little bit. Because I
Right.
wasn't making too much money at the time. I was like, fuck. Like if that's the case, then I'm not worth anything. Like
Yeah.
I'm a worthless piece of shit.
Yeah.
And that kind of gave me the kick of the arse to like make more money.
Of course.
But now like I just think that's a silly thing to have in your mind.
I think it's good for when you're starting though.
Yeah.
For sure. Like everybody's like, oh, why did you do that monk mode thing? And like loads of people at the time in my life were like, oh, you know, I told you that was a bad thing to do. I told you that you shouldn't have, you know, just locked yourself in your apartment for that amount of time and done that.
You need to.
But to start, I think it was very important. And it's like, it put me so far ahead. And the thing is there's like results lag. You won't see the results from the work that you put in today until tomorrow or next week or even next year. And that's just the way it is.
You reap the seeds that you sow.
Exactly. Yeah.
In the Bible, I know that you're familiar with it. The foolish man built his house on the sand. The wise man built his house on the rocks.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was laying cement and concrete foundations like 2-3 years ago before I even knew I was doing it.
Yeah.
Like through the kickboxing, through like the crazy self-development marathons I do every single day of foam rolling, ice baths, meditating, journaling, gratitude messages, red light therapy.
Do you think it was like mental masturbation?
It wasn't that. I don't know who I spoke about this with, but before that, I was depressed and I was smoking weed and I was just a complete loser. And then I started doing really hard shit, like training twice a day, doing all this ice baths, like being like disgustingly disciplined to the point where it's like, this guy's not mentally well. And to be fair, to some extent, I wasn't. And what I was doing, I was actually self-harming that pussy version of myself. Because I hated myself so much. I was doing so many hard things.
Just whipping that boy.
Yeah, I was just whipping him.
Yeah.
And then before I knew it, I was just like basking in the misery. I absolutely rejoiced in the ice bath. I would start singing songs, Beautiful World in the mornings and all that shit. And without even knowing, that's us like building the concrete foundations. You sitting in that office with zero artwork in. You're building the foundations.
Yeah.
So
It wasn't an office, bro. It was my fucking house.
Yeah,
it was my house at the time. Yeah, but like I remember my girlfriend at the time. She bought me one. It's actually called a money plant. She bought me a money plant when she went to the. She's like, I thought you'd appreciate this. And there was just imagine just like an entirely white apartment with just one money plant in the middle, and that was it.
What did you say when she bought you that?
I was a bit annoyed actually because I wanted it to be bare. This is like what you just said. Is like I wasn't sad in those times. Like looking back, it was like a harder time, but I wasn't sad. Like I was waking up every day and I was like, it was 4 a.m. I'd be like fucking sleep deprived. You know, money wouldn't be flowing in the way that I wanted it to. I was frustrated. You know, I was in a lot of like business pain, but I would still just be like singing in the morning, getting up, putting the tunes on, shadow boxing, doing fucking handstands, you know, and just having a good time.
I think some people don't have that, you know.
No, they don't. Some people feel like bad, like pain. Like they feel like pain of like like going on a run, or the pain of business, or the pain of getting in an ice bath, and they like see that stress response as bad. But I think like I've reprogrammed. I think you're the same. I've reprogrammed my mind to the point where I know that leads to a good thing. I know that leads to exactly what I want. So I can almost just sit there and smile and look crazy.
We want a hard but simple life.
Yeah.
Not an easy but complicated life.
Exactly.
You know, we want everything to be quite linear. Sometimes I ask myself that question. I was like, how linear is my life? Like, how simple is it? And I think I've kind of got a hold of it at the minute. But the fact that I travel so much, it's not probably making it that simple. Like, my life could be so much more simple.
Yeah, it really could be.
But it's working. So.
It is working, yeah. I think that, I don't know, because there's the whole thing of like simple scales. But more recently, I've been listening to a lot of guys who are into, teaching copywriting, teaching ads, and like systems for getting clients in businesses similar to ours. And one of the points that he made is like, if you do have a complex system, if you do run things in a complex way, then you're likely to outcompete the people that don't, because if you can make a complex system work, then you will see more targeted and intricate results than somebody who perhaps doesn't. So I think if you can add complexity while obviously scaling, then it works. But I mean, like socially, I want a simple life.
Yeah.
Like I've got like so many friends that have visited Bangkok this past like few days, and I literally just had to cancel on them all this morning and be like, right, I need to just sit in my fucking office and work. And it's all I want to do. Like it's all I feel like I want to do. I was sat in bed last night and I was thinking, oh fucking hell, like I've got to meet this person, then I've agreed to do this, I've agreed to go to cigars, I've agreed to go to dinner, then this is happening. I want to prioritize the podcast with Will. And I just thought, do you know what? Why don't I just cancel most of it and just do what I normally do? So I did.
I would like to say my circle's small.
Bro, your circle's not small.
I know.
Your business is like, the nature of your business, your circle can't be small. Your business is literally just making friends and doing shit with the boys.
That's so messed up.
It's sick.
Yeah, it's sick. But like,
yeah.
In what world has people done that before?
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
People always say, how do you know like these relationships that you're building aren't just transactional? And I was like, that's never even crossed my mind.
But it's also not how like business relationships work, because in order for somebody to pay you, there has to be stuff outside of a transaction for there to be that transaction.
But regardless, even if it was just straight transaction of value,
yeah,
monetary value for, I don't know, business value, I just have never seen any of my relationships transactional.
No.
Obviously, like I meet up with a guy, get along with him really, really well and think, oh, I'm going to close this guy.
Yeah.
But it's because I like him so much.
Of course, you want him in the group.
Yeah. That's the more sense. For example, like Jack Plant.
Yeah.
Like, great guy, one of my good friends, known him for like a year now.
Yeah.
Of course I want to close him. Because he's one of my good mates. He's one of my good mates.
He's going to be watching this. Yeah, he's either going to have closed or he's going to be thinking about it.
Of course he's going to watch this.
Yeah, I hope he joins, bro. Yeah, I hope he joins.
But that's the way it works in my mind. I don't know if that makes me a bad businessman or it just makes me like a genuine human being with a moral compass.
No, I don't think so. Because the best clients I've got are people that I've been friends with first, and then clients with second. And then my best clients after that are the clients I've actually made genuine friends with, which is like most, like, some of my clients I don't speak to as much. I just work with them and like help them with their business. But a lot of the clients I will be also friends with. We'll talk socially. If they're in the same city, I'll link up with them and stuff like that.
But people say a client will become a friend before a friend becomes a client.
I've never heard that.
Have you not?
A client will become a friend before a friend will become a client. Yeah, maybe.
I think contextually, like, that did make sense. Like in my old circle of friends in like a civilian world.
Yeah.
But now we're in like this entrepreneurship and there's like 50 plus entrepreneurs in Willionaire.
Okay.
We're all friends and we all buy from each other. We all pay each other for our services.
Okay, here's a question then.
Okay.
What's the best clothes you've had? Like the clothes that you've done in like the coolest style or like in the most unorthodox way. What's like the coolest clothes you've ever done?
There's been a few now. So I've not actually done that many in-person closes. Like sitting across the room from each other, being in each other's presence, and he pays the Stripe link. Yeah. That's not happened.
Right.
But DM piffs, bro. They've been flowing the past 2 months. Like 5K, like when it was 3K, boom, loads of them. Yeah. 4K piffs, 5K piffs, just in DMs. And I think there's been 3 that I remember. One, I was doing pull-ups. The second one, I was getting a massage. The third one, I was on the back of a Grab. And my phone was on 1%. And I remember I just sent the link. My phone died, and I just knew it was paid.
You got home when that invoice had been done, yeah?
I didn't even check.
Yeah.
I went for a shit, then turned on my computer, and then plugged my phone in, and I seen it popped up.
Yeah, but that's detachment.
Yeah, completely.
Because like maybe you 6 months ago or 12 months ago would have been like, oh, got to check my phone, got to check that he's paid it. And then if he hadn't, you'd be messaging me like, bro, are you going to pay the invoice? It's
like how people say, make sure you close on the call. I totally get that. Yeah. But like recently, especially for Willionaire Ascend, my new offer, like people said, is it alright if I think about it? Objection handled, the fuck. And then when I know they're going to leave the call without paying on the call, this has happened like 3 times now, and this is a brand new offer. They say, bro, I was a little bit nervous jumping on this call, because you got to remember these guys are at the start of their journey. They're probably making like 3-4K a month. like I just appreciate how authentic you are, and that is the reason I'm going to invest in a Willionaire Ascend, is because of you, because you're just so genuine and so authentic. I'm like, look, bro, I appreciate it, man. Like, I look forward to seeing that invoice come in, and in the meantime, if there's anything I can do to help you out, just give me a shout. Everyone who said that's paid.
Yeah. Beautiful.
What's your best close?
My best close. Where are you trying to go?
I want that water, but we've been told we can't move.
I reckon you'll be all right.
Don't worry.
I reckon you'll be sweet.
Sorry, Lorenzo in Qatar.
Sorry, boys. He's going to come in and move and have to refocus that camera maybe. All right, so my craziest close. I don't know, it's kind of the same. I've had a lot of payments come through when I've been like riding the bike. Like I'll be riding through and like I'll have my headphones in. This is fucking dangerous. Like I probably shouldn't even say this. But like I'll be riding the bike with my headphones in, full blast, can't hear a thing, just got the helmet on, I'm just fucking ragging it through traffic. And like I'll see the stripe notification come through. That's happened a few times on the bike. But I'm quite big on in-person closes, and I have this whole routine where like I want to make the person who's going to be paying me feel really, really, really looked after. Like I want them, as soon as they paid me, I want the whole process for them to have like full confidence in it. And my most powerful closes are where I actually invite somebody into my home, and I have this whole routine. Obviously, I'll make sure the apartment's clean. I'll make sure the aircon's on. I'll make sure it's nice and comfortable. But I'll basically hook my laptop up to the TV, and we'll both sit there on the sofa, and I will essentially present my offer to the person. And you know, I've done that a few times.
How do you find objection handling in person?
I don't, this is another thing as well, is I've actually eliminated objection handling from my process completely by getting objections out of people before I even give them an offer. And I don't think I've done objection handling in ages. And if I get to the end of a call and somebody's like, hey, like that's fine, I just need to go and like sort my finances out, or I need to think about it, then that's cool. But I'm not going to drag them over the line. Like I'm not going to do that now. Just because anytime I have done that, anytime I've had to really, really, really coach somebody through the decision, and that's fine with some people, but for the most part, they don't make good clients. So for me, I want to get over those objections. I want to revise those limiting beliefs before we get to the close, because there's a difference, right? There's objections, and then you've got limiting beliefs, and most people think they're the same thing, but they're not. So an objection is a problem they have directly related to the product. That's what an objection actually is. Whereas a limiting belief is something that they come into the call with before they've even been exposed to your product. Does that make sense? Yeah. So like they were going to say they needed to speak to their partner, or that they don't have the money, or that now's not the right time, regardless of how good the product is. So I want to get that out of them, because it's limiting beliefs that mainly stop people from buying, like the money, the time, the partner. I want to get that out of them before I go to actually pitch.
But then they buy because of the pools of confidence. Confidence in testimonials, confidence in your offer, or confidence in you. Yeah. I think that's the biggest selling point. Just you and I and everyone else with a business is
100%.
Being that person who is trusted, is genuine enough and authentic enough for people to put their trust in them
100%
and invest into them.
Yeah. Like so many people are like, oh, but how am I going to stand out in business? And they're like, you know, for example, with me working with fitness coaches, they're going to have in their bio, I help, you know, busy professionals lose weight or whatever. And loads of people have got that same bio. Loads of people have got that same marketing message. And a lot of coaches will say to me like, oh, what makes my business different? What makes my offer different? Because everybody has this same thing in their bio. And really, like, it's them that makes it different. It's not your offer. Like, there is no special thing that you can include in your offer to make it crazy different from the next. Because the fundamental concepts of like losing weight or making money, they apply across the board. So if somebody asks me like, what makes you different? So fucking, what do you want to be? What do you want it to be? Like, what do you want me to be? And I'll be that for you, basically.
Yeah. It's the same when a girl asks you, oh, how old are you? How old do you want us to be, darling?
It's it's the same. Yeah, it's the same.
I like that.
Do you think there's actually a lot of parallels between women and closing deals, like closing sales? Because a lot of people make that comparison, and you know, I've heard a lot of people with the opinion of it becoming quite a vulgar thing to do.
Yeah, well, of course it comes into play in terms of human psychology.
Yeah. Like
you can like sweet talk and you can
100%.
Seduce. But when it comes to handling objections, that's a different story. If you're trying to sleep with someone and they say no, and then you start objection handling them.
You can't do that.
Yeah, that's almost rape.
You can't. If a girl doesn't want to sleep with you, you can't handle those objections. There's a time and a fucking place to start handling somebody's objections. But like seriously, like so.
I do think there is a correlation.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Main thing is confidence and self-belief.
Conviction.
Yeah, conviction. That's probably a better word to cover both things I just said there.
100%.
It's like, if you have conviction in yourself, like when I was in Bali, I was in the best shape of my life. I was absolutely dick skin shredded, and I was making all right money at the time. So I was really confident around girls, and that kind of brought the charisma out more. And that made me a lot more confidence, and I had conviction in myself because I was a man who was capable of making my own money. I was a man who was in incredible shape. I had all these accolades behind us.
Yeah.
And every time I went up to speak to like a stunning girl in like a Nirvana gym or something, I would tell myself, first of all, I look older than 21 or 22 at the time, or 21. I was like, I'm in good shape. I make money online. I've got long hair and a six pack. Like, of course they're going to want to speak to me. They would be silly not to speak to me. So I just put a big myself up in my head so that a rejection is almost impossible. I don't know. Good. How do you do that?
I don't know. I think that like the correlation between sales and relationships in general, not just like pulling
relationships,
like not just pulling girls, like but you're technically when you're starting a sale, you're starting a relationship. If you're meeting a new girl, whether it's for one night or 1 year, you are still starting a relationship. So I think like when it comes to relationships, when it comes to like communicating through those, I think sales helps because you have to be a good listener. And like the best salespeople are the most understanding salespeople. They're the people that can ask a question, sit there and listen, and then repeat back to you exactly what it is that you mean. And that's where sales has helped me. Like if I've been in an argument or if I've been trying to communicate something, with a girl, then like listening to them, like asking questions and just being able to like understand where they're at. It's like there's a film, and in the film there's a character, I can't exactly remember what scene it is, but there's some scene in a film and one of these characters goes, I need to understand, that's it, it's in I can't fucking remember this show. Ari Gold is the character, but he goes, I need to understand what you think so I can get you to think what I think.
Yeah.
And that's essentially like what you're doing if you're trying to get on the same page with somebody, is understand where they're at so that they can start to understand where you're at.
Just like not telling them that they're wrong. That makes them dig their heels into the sand and get
exactly
defensive. You want to take them on a journey. I used to agree with you until I learned X, Y, and Z. And because I learned X, Y, and Z, now I believe this. So like you're taking them on a journey. And same with sales, it's the person who cares the most about the client's results is going to win the sale. So you've got to care about them more than you care about yourself.
Yeah,
more than that they care about themselves.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Is there a reason that you're single?
Huh?
Oh,
Is there a reason that I'm single? Probably. Probably. Because I've been in relationships. No, I am single. But I've been in relationships for like... I've been in relationships like in and out for probably like 6 years. Like I've never not been in a relationship. So I guess it's just having that...
I just always spawn into them, like randomly, and then spawn out of them. Even more randomly.
Fuckboy problems, isn't it?
No, not even. It's just like just life problems, isn't it?
No, I know.
Yeah. But I would say like I don't have a girlfriend. Again, my mum like I talk to my mum about this quite a lot. First of all, I told my mum, I was like, Mum, all the girls I'm dating are like 30s. I was like, I think I've got a problem because like there's no longevity in this. Because by the time I want to have a kid, they're gonna be infertile as fuck.
Why don't you start now then? Why don't you start? I've been considering this, like just starting to have kids now.
Stop breeding.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not ready, man.
I am.
I'm not.
I 100% like, I'm ready for that. 100%.
My logic is like, I don't want to bring a woman into my life who I've got to look after until the women who are existed in my life right now are looked after. So like my mum, my auntie, my gran, my sisters.
Yeah.
When they don't have to worry about anything, then I can bring another woman into my life.
Okay, I'm with you. That makes sense.
Like some girl who I start going on dates with and decide I want to be in a relationship with her, like she didn't change my nappies. She didn't look after us when I was a kid. She's not been in the other seat of a buggy for like 3 years of her life, like my sister was, like that's just not there. So I'd rather look after those first. And then I'm the man who can attract like the best woman in the world,
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. If you had a kid, what would be like the game plan? Like okay, right, let's say you've got a son, right? What's like the game plan with your son? Like you just become your son, just become your son, right? And you've got your son, he's ready, like he's completely just comes in basic, like average build, like starter pack skin. Like you've just got to customize him and like give him a game plan. What would be like the roadmap?
I would make him do really uncomfortable things. So I'd make him speak for me in public. For example, when we go to a restaurant, obviously not when he's a baby.
Oh my God.
But, you know, when he's like 5, 6, 7, when he's got his own voice, I would make for him call the waiter over, ask for the waiter's name.
Do you know what I was picturing? I was picturing like a little fucking millionaire getting up on the table and like doing a speech.
No.
Speak for me.
No, I mean like in generic situations.
He's going to be doing he's going to order that sort of thing. Yeah, that makes sense.
He's going to do like, I'm going to embed gentleman etiquette into him from a very young age.
That makes sense.
I'm going to make him go to kickboxing.
Yeah.
I'm going to make him do all the shit that I wish I'd done earlier. Learn. Like I'm really fortunate because my dad and my grandpa, they're both proper gentlemen. Yeah. So I've had those without having to learn it.
Of course.
So I'd want to embed that to him, but even more so from a young age.
Definitely.
Make him order food, ask for the bill, call people by their names, make him do things that are uncomfortable so people remember him, and he like grows up being confident and being able to speak to people. Right. And second of all, kickboxing. Get him in kickboxing as soon as he can walk. Probably before he can walk. Yeah. And then just get discipline installed into him straight away and
send him to Dagestan.
Yeah, and also make him like service his mother. Like instead of obviously as a kid, like your mum looks after you. Like I want him to look after his mum. Like little things like removing the nail varnish from my toenails, or like making the beds in the morning. Like I want him to like understand that it's his duty to look after like the women in his family, because like I'm massive on that. Like the girls in my family are everything to me.
That's huge.
Like I know I love my dad and my grandpa to bits, but they'll be more than happy with the fact knowing that I put the women in my family before them, because they're sound. They're blokes. You know?
Why do you think you have that about the women in your family?
I don't know. My sisters are like very precious to us. Like I'm like really, really close to them, and growing up, they're like my best mates, proper best mates. And then they grew up into like girls, like women, and then I was like really protective over them. But then I realized I've got to like let them live their lives. So it's just I'm wanting to give them the life, because they're all ambitious, but in their own way. But I know that they're never gonna have like no worries. They're always gonna have hardships. Like that's just the way life is. And I know I'm that person who's gonna like put an end to that. Same with my mum. Like my mum's just so sweet, and like my gran is just lovely. My dad's military background, come from council estate upbringing, so he's really big on like showing affection, because my granddad's dad didn't like give him kisses or hugs when he was a kid and never said I love you. So when my granddad brought my dad and uncles up, he would always like make them give him a kiss before they left the house. Wow. So I grew up like leaving the house, every time I left the house I'd give my dad a kiss on the cheek. Wow. And then sometimes like his friends were there and be like, he still gives you a kiss at like 21 years old. I'm like, yeah.
You Geordies, man. You're so affectionate.
Yeah,
no, it's really nice though. It's really
I think that's the answer to the question. I'm not too sure. It might be deeper than that.
That's deep.
What about you?
What about me with
your son? If
you
had a starter pack avatar.
Well, I kind of had the next best thing. I had a little brother.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So like with Joe, I don't know, he kind of gained consciousness at like 18, 19. And I was looking at him like, we can put him to work. Like he can be useful to himself. Because he was like going to uni and I don't know, man, that's Joe's story. But either way, I sort of said to him, I remember it was on Christmas 2022. We'd been on like the annual boys' night out, and then me and him went home and we were sat in the garden, and he was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. And I just said to him, I was like, I'm building a business, and that business is going to be, it's going to make, X amount of money. It's and now it is. And I said to him, I was like, you should come and work with me. I was like, I don't care how long it takes, but eventually we can both be living out in Thailand. We can both be traveling the world. We can do what we want. In fact, I said to him, I was like, where would you be? Like, if you could be anywhere, if you could be doing anything, what would you be doing? He was like, well, I guess have location freedom. That was like a big driving factor for him. So I just said to him, I was like, look, come work with me and do that. And along the way, obviously there's pain and hardship, which is involved in building a business and becoming an entrepreneur, as he's done. So I've been able to like, we call it like brainwashing sessions. I call him at least once a day for about an hour and just sit there straight coaching him for about an hour straight, just straight digging into his mind and like improving him. And he will be like a millionaire before the age of 25 because of that.
I've noticed insane like growth in Joe.
Bro, massively. Yeah.
When like you first made us connect on a call, like he didn't have a clue about anything. Well, I didn't really, but I knew more. And now like when I hosted that big dinner when 20 guys came, like I was chatting to him quite a lot.
Yeah.
I called him the other day about something, and bro, he knows his shit.
Oh yeah, he knows his shit. He's always
his
the
shit.
thing is with Joe is like he's always knew his shit. Like he's always, because he was in the business for a long time with me. Like he's always knew a lot, but it's been confidence, and like I would say the biggest improvement he's had is just like his level of conviction in himself. Because I had that conviction in him, other people around him had that conviction in him, but like he gained that conviction in himself, and his life literally 10x'd.
Yeah.
Like everything improved, and you know I appreciate boys like yourself and the other guys in Bangkok that have like spent time around him, because that's helped to build him up as well. And now he's in a spot where he's building other people up and stuff like that. So he passes it on.
He's coaching other people.
Exactly, yeah. And everybody has that. Everybody has that line of progression. Like I've had people that have been that person to me, that have bigged me up, or you know set an example for me in my life. I've had some fucking crazy characters that have like really been a role model to me. That's like given me the character that I needed to get to where I am. Yeah,
I would definitely say you were a massive role model for me last year.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Huge.
Really,
both business and just like generally.
Yeah, bro. I tried to be. Yeah, of course.
Good.
Yeah.
Now we're racing to 100k.
Now we're racing, mate. Now we're racing, but we're in the same car, you know.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
We've both got those VW engines.
Absolutely. Yeah.
8 cylinders.
Yeah. Mine's burning out a little bit at the moment, but
why?
We'll get it fixed. Well, we basically raced this first 3 months of the year to the point where like we were taking on a client every single day, like $2,000 days, $4,000 days, doing really, really well. But because we want to service the clients so much, that was so demanding on the delivery side of things. So I had like another level of fuck this yesterday, where I pretty much sat there for the whole day and just crafted out the delivery systems of the business to make sure that the engine doesn't burn out. So it's like that is my kind of strategy with business and with myself, is I will just work until everything fucking breaks, and then I will say, okay, right, what do we need to fix? And I think that's what I've noticed you do as well, to be honest. 100%, because so many people, and I don't know why I was thinking about this last night and this morning, and like you really came to mind of like the one big reason why people fail in business is because they look so far ahead of like, oh, I need to have this in place so that when I get to that point, nothing breaks, like my delivery systems or, you know, my fucking email list, whatever it might be. But you've been really good at just going one foot in front of the other. What's next? I'm just going to look at what is right in front of me, and I'm just going to ruthlessly take action on that instead of worrying about the rest of the shit. And that's served really, really well for me. And it's almost like, you know that somewhere down the line, something's going to break. So you just work, inputs, get the results. And then eventually something breaks. You're like, shit, fix it, move on. And that's like the stage that I'm at right now. But I think the aim of the game is to make things break as fast as possible. That's where you see like kids that are doing like $1 million months, you know, only $1 million a year, whatever it is. It's just because they failed fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they didn't really have that fear of failure.
They just didn't have it, yeah. And like you're like an example of that. You'll probably be one of those guys that's like 23, millionaire, just because you've just fucking failed so fast.
I should have $1 million in the bank next year.
I believe it.
In 2026.
Yeah, I believe it.
Like that's just being realistic as well. Like I'm not even like manifesting it happens. Like so we've just done our first 50k month this month. So even if we're just consistent with that for the rest of the year, that's going to have a lot of cash in the bank.
100%.
And if we've scaled from 20 to 50 in 3 months, and I don't understand why we won't be able to get to 100 by the end of the year. And then, am I consistent enough to make that consistent? I would like to think so. So if we do consistent 100k months in 2023, then that's over $1 million. So that's being realistic as well. I know that my realism, is that the word? My realism is a bit distorted by my own delusion.
Well, I think you've got like different types of optimism. You've got like delusional optimism, which is, and I think like there is some validity in aiming for the stars and landing on the moon. Like that is something that has worked for me very, very well. But I think like I
don't think there's any problem with that.
No, there's not. There's no problem with
literally speaking, you can't land on the stars anyway.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
literally
if you
speaking.
aim for the moon, you could fall short.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you aim for something past the thing, it's like, bro, even when you're punching, like in a fight,
Yeah, you punch through someone.
you're aiming for the back of the head.
Of course.
Because if you just aim for the tip of the nose, you're gonna miss.
Yeah.
Or you
yeah.
might fall short.
Yeah.
So it's
That's
like,
a great
literally
analogy.
speaking, it does work.
Yeah. It's true, bro. It's true. But I think like rational optimism is like what works well for me. Like painting things out and being like, okay, if we do this amount of sales and we charge this amount of money, we're going to get to this number. And like if we're being rationally optimistic, like that can happen. Because every single week me and Joe sit down and we map out the numbers. Okay, how many people did we close? How much money did we spend on ads? How much does it cost us to get a customer? How much does it cost us to get a call? Okay, if we spend more next week, do we get more calls and make more money and close more clients?
Yeah.
And the answer is normally yes.
We've just started running ads.
How's that going?
Not great, to be honest. But it's a brand new system that we've just installed like about 14 days ago. So I've just hired a setter, a closer, a guy running the ads, a guy doing email marketing. So we've just built out a full team now. And we've closed one client. So we are in profit from the ads. But
Well, that's more than most people, bro, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like ads, people think ads is like a quick fix to your business.
I did.
Yeah.
And I thought, because I think this is how I hit 50K this month, because I was like, okay, I'm building up a team. With this team, it's going to make me 50K per month. Yes, we've got the team, but it's not been delivering results yet. So I already knew I was going to make 50K.
Yeah.
So I think if I didn't have that, if I didn't tell myself I was going to build out a team and didn't take the actions to do it, I probably wouldn't have hit 50K, because I would have just been like sound with 20 or 25, just improving from last month. But we were like looking at the data and stuff, and we've got really low cost per clicks. All that shit's really good, but we've got about 50 leads. Loads of people have booked. What are you laughing at?
You're just like, oh, that shit's really good. Like Maher's running the whole thing, and you're like, you've not even looked at Ads Manager once.
Exactly, bro. I don't want to look at Ads Manager. I don't want to look at my email list.
No, it's a smart thing to do.
I don't want to look at my DMs.
You just made me crease. No, it's.
I want to be fed grapes on a throne.
Yeah.
No, but
you're using other people as leverage, which is what you should be doing.
all my business is built on my business.
Yeah.
And the only thing, we've got like 50 leads, but we can't get in touch with them right now. So that's like a problem that we're going to get fixed. But we also think it's not like the follow-up sequences, because that's all dialed in. I just think it's the people we're targeting. So it's probably like a messaging problem that we've got. But I don't really care. I know it's going to work at some point. And I've got good people behind
Exactly, yeah. That's that detachment coming in.
Yeah.
I don't really care. I know it's going to work. But no, the ads is like, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you know you're going to post content. Like everybody posts content, right? And they understand that they're going to have to do that for a long period of time until they see a payoff from it. But nobody thinks it's the same thing with outreach or with ads. But it is. It's the exact same thing. It's not like, okay, I'm going to post content and maybe it works. It's like, no, I'm just going to post content until it works. People seem to understand that when it comes to making YouTube videos or reels, but they don't apply it when it comes to ads or outreach. But it is the same reality across the board.
What's your thoughts on this? So you're a big advocate on outreach.
Yeah.
I didn't do a single outreach for 5 months. And it was in those 5 months that my business scaled.
I mean, it's not that like I'm a big advocate for outreach. It's just that like it works. Yeah. It works. So you're not doing any outreach. You haven't done any outreach for the past 5 months.
We started again about a week ago when I onboarded the setter.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But you've not been doing any personal outreach. So people have just been messaging you and booking in sales calls.
Yeah, it's like we were talking about like transurfing reality, being the person that money flows to.
Of course.
And that was happening in January.
Yeah.
So I kind of, again, I went back to the UK, bit of bad circumstances. I wasn't down in the dumps, but my mind was foggy. There was like mental clarity wasn't optimal.
Yeah.
And I felt really comfortable because I was at home. And I'd spent a lot of my money. And I don't know what was going on, but there's a quote that stood out. It was, under peaceful conditions, the warlike man attacks himself.
Yeah.
And I realised I was attacking myself by not taking as much action as I should have been.
Yeah.
And then in January, it was like the last 3 or 2 weeks of January, we did like all of our sales.
Yeah.
So
I think that like because I've had periods like that where you just get like random people that have been watching your content for the last like 6 months or the last year. They'll just start flowing in. And like, you know, in the last week of a month, you'll make all your sales. But undoubtedly you'd make more money if you did outreach on top of all of that.
Yeah, well, we're doing it now.
Of course, yeah.
But it's very low intent though. Like I don't want to, just like I don't want to objection handle on calls because I want people to jump on my calls to be desperate to join Willionaire.
Yeah.
That's the same with my leads. I'm only getting my set just to engage in conversations with them.
Of course.
To basically get people onto the page.
Yeah, it's very dependent on the business that you're in, like whether outreach is the right thing. Like B2B services, like services like mine, outreach is, it's goated. Like you've got to be doing outreach, otherwise you're just going to lose.
Yeah, leaving so much money on the table.
Exactly, yeah. But if you're like more B2C, so for example, with the clients that we work with, we teach like a different style of outreach where it's more inbound, you're more focused on creating conversation opportunities. And if you're not trying to we've got huge goals. We want to make $1 million per month. We want to do 10 mil per year, right? But for the people that are just trying to get to 5K or 10K, they can get away with doing like 10 to 20 outreach per day just to people that are liking their content. And they'll probably hit those sorts of numbers if they're good and consistent with content. But there's other things that factor into it as well. It's like, are you like a likable person online?
Yeah.
Because it's like, so maybe some people watch this podcast and think, not everyone should have a podcast. But like, I watch some people's content and I'm like, fuck, like I wouldn't pay them. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. It's just something about the way that they are as a person that I wouldn't pay. And obviously some people probably think that about like you and me. But, you know, a good portion of people clearly don't because they've entered the program and trusted us with what they want to achieve.
That's why I like these conversations because, well, many reasons. I like talking shit with my boys.
Yeah.
And two, it almost gives people FOMO because people see what type of people are in Willionaire.
100%.
You know, I've done one with Julius, done one with you, her, Piero. Done a few now.
Yeah.
So people kind of see what caliber of people are in there and that we're not just dumbasses. We actually have some sort of things to talk about.
Yeah. Well, we are dumbasses, but we're somehow making it work. No,
that was Julius's whole problem. Julius was like, he needs to stop viewing himself as he's 20 now, but as some kid who just makes a lot of money.
Right.
He said he had to or is still working to shift that whole self-perception of him.
His identity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was like, I need to be a man who runs a business, not a kid who just makes loads of money.
Yeah, it's true.
And I was like, why do you even view yourself as a kid that makes loads of money? Because I don't view you as that. So I don't think any of the boys in Willionaire do. So
right.
Why have you got that opinion on yourself?
That's an interesting one.
Why did you join Willionaire?
Why did I join Willionaire?
Yeah.
Because you made me. I'm joking, bro. I'm joking.
Peer pressure.
Yeah, I'm big on networking. Like I've joined like over the past. I remember when I was first getting into this business, I understood that like if I network, the more people I networked with, the more knowledge I'd gain, the more opportunities I'd get for working with people. And I understood from a really early point in the business, okay, if somebody's got the problem that I solve, then it makes sense to nurture them and try and work with them. So from when I was about 22, 23, I started joining loads of networks. I've been in a lot of networks in England and then joined networks out here in Thailand. The reason why I joined Willionaire specifically was because I met you, bro. Just because like, yeah, I liked your vibe, I liked your story, and I was just bought into like the vision of what you've got going on. So
so you joined before it really took off.
Yeah.
How has the actual unfolding how's that compared to what you thought it was going to do?
I think you've got to play the long-term game with networks and networking, and that's why like I think it's important to get in networks like Willionaire. I think it's important to join Willionaire early and now because two things are going to happen. It's going to get more crowded, so people are going to get less access to you, the person who's building the business and the person who can provide them a lot of value. And like you've personally connected me with so many people. Like the amount of money that I've made through just you connecting me with other people, I'm like, fuck, I should probably fucking pay this guy more money or do something, But that's been a huge thing. So that one thing's going to happen, they'll get less access. But the other thing that's going to happen is obviously you'll make things more expensive. Mm-hmm. And I've noticed in other networks are a little bit further on, in terms of time, like they've been out for longer. It's hard to connect with the guys that are either running that network. Now it's getting harder to do that, and there's kind of like within these network groups you kind of get like subgroups within them, and if you can join one early and kind of like mingle with everybody and get close with a lot of people, then it serves massive value. Even through other networks that I'm in, like the amount of people that I've connected with and they've referred me clients, just making friends with people. Like it's not about like looking for opportunity. It's about just being friends with people. Like I've got a friend from London who's arrived yesterday, Ryan, And one of the first networking events he ever took me to was, you know, this is when I was like 23. I think I made like £2,000 just from going to that networking event. And that's when it clicked. And I was like, oh, so I need to network, because I just met somebody who had the thing that I wanted. And it's not like I tried to sell them. I just told them what it is that I did. And then they said, oh, could you help me? I was like, I suppose, yeah. So, but that's why I think joining Willionaire now is important.
That's what I like, because I like to try and make the guys' investments back.
Yeah.
So like, say someone invests 5k in me, why would I not try and get them 5k worth of clients? Like, it doesn't really take too much time. The amount of people I have in my DMs inbound, the amount of people I meet, and like, I can vouch for that person, otherwise they wouldn't be in Willionaire. So I generally like people who are in Willionaire for a reason, because that is my inner circle, although 100%. There is 50 odd people in there now. You know, like, I do want them to win.
Yeah.
I do want everyone in there to win.
100%. But like, it's still at like a golden point where people can join, access you, and spend time with you. But like, you know,
it will stay that way.
You reckon?
And that's the thing. Like, that's where different communities. Like, I'm learning from the lessons. Like, there's no community blueprint, but you can learn from other people's mistakes and what other people are doing, what aren't doing as well as they could be.
But I do think there's validity in, like, at some point you've got to, like, your energy can't get diluted, because like at some point you've got to start protecting your energy. Otherwise, like, Will, like as Will, not Willionaire, is gonna get diluted to the point where you're not potent enough to give everybody the attention, and then you have to use leverage. You have to create a digital clone of yourself, doing things like mastermind and speaking, and yeah, that's just my opinion.
You want to be the people's champ, though, don't you?
Yeah, you do, but you know, the king isn't the people's champ in the end, bro. The king is the king. You know what I mean? The king uses leverage. The king uses his troops. The king isn't greeting every person on the street.
But the king with a strong army respects everyone.
It's true.
And treats them well.
It's true. It's true. But if he learned everybody's name, he wouldn't be able to rule the kingdom.
I can remember 100 names.
You want more than 100 troops, though, bro. And
when we surpass 100, when we get to the point where I can't remember people's names,
yeah,
then I need to reevaluate my business.
Yeah.
Because that's the USP right now.
Yeah.
Is the tight knit, the closeness of the brotherhood.
Yeah.
It's how there's not really subgroups. Yeah, there's guys who've lived together more than other people, but
yeah,
it's still one group right now.
Yeah.
It's not really divided.
No, and that's good. That's really, really good. But I do think that, like, yeah, like, I'm saying people should join now so that they can still access you while it's possible, is what I'm saying. Maybe it'll always be possible.
I think so.
I hope so. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. I guess we'll see. All right, well, I think we've run out of time, brother.
Yeah, looks like the case. Tom, where can people find you? Instagram, YouTube?
Instagram, Tom Hutchmove. That's it.
Your mother's address? Nice. As for me, Will Courtney with 3 Ys on Insta, Will Courtney 0 on YouTube.
Smashed it, bro.
Let's do it. Us.